What's going on, guys? Jerry Garcia here, host of Jerry Yap. Today we have a very awesome game to talk about. One of my personal favorites, and honestly, one I genuinely think there's not a single human on this earth that hates. And we are talking WarioWare, man. What's the full title of the game? It's called like Mega Micro Game, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games for the Gameboy Advance, originally released in North America, May 26th, 2003. So 21 years ago, this game came out, and man, does it really ages super well, in my opinion. I mean, this is a game I would literally recommend to anybody of any age group, no matter what their experience is, because it's something you could probably just pick up and have a lot of fun with, man. And I don't even know, like this, I'm really not expecting this episode to be super long at all in the slightest, because, the game really isn't. I beat the whole game in like 1 hour. But I still want to talk about it, man, because there's a lot of games in this series. I definitely want to go through and play all of them. There's GameCube ones, DS ones. There's a 3DS one I haven't played. There's one on the Switch that wasn't as good as the rest. I have it. Maybe I'll replay it just for fun one of these days and compare and contrast them. Well, I'm honestly going to compare them all together as I play them for the podcast. But yeah, man, I love these goddamn games, man. If you don't know what WarioWare is, it's kind of like Mario Party. Not really. Like Mario Party in the sense where there's a bunch of mini games. But in Mario Party, there's actually like a bigger meaning, and there's like a board and everything. I'm sure you guys know what Mario Party is by now, so I won't go too much into it. But yeah, this is just like a series of micro games. Every game lasts from like 1 to 5 seconds, pretty much. And then the boss stages last maybe 1 to 2 minutes at most. And it's just a bunch of fucking mini games. You have 4 lives in each mini game, right? So if you screw up 4 times or fuck up 4 times, then your game is over. If you're like me and you're experienced with this, and I've been playing it for years now, I got to the game without even game overing one single time. It's just that easy, man. I just remember a lot of the games from back then, and to be fair, they're not all that intricate. Like I said, this game is accessible. I'm pretty sure it's designed to be accessible to a wide audience. So it's a little on the easier side, but that doesn't mean it's any less fun, man. And there is certainly modes you can unlock later to kind of test yourself a little bit too, So yeah, it's just fucking all around solid ass game. And the story, the story, like most Nintendo games, like Mario, like Zelda, you kind of don't really play them for the story. There's a story that's there, right? But it doesn't really make much sense, or it's not really all that intricate or interesting most of the time. But that WarioWare kind of just goes along with that stereotype of Nintendo games there. So I'll talk a little bit about the story, a little bit about what's going on. We'll talk about probably my favorite mini games, or my favorite characters to play and their mini games in general, because that's kind of how this game works. You click on one of the characters, they have their own set of mini games, they have their own boss, and then as soon as you pass through that, you're on to the next one. You unlock one more, you do another one, and so on and so forth. Like I said, this is the first installment of this game, so it's pretty bare bones. Not that they get too intricate at all, to be honest. They really don't. But I mean, I honestly don't even remember, to be honest with you, because I literally, this is the first one I've played since the new Switch one, which was not, I did not like the new Switch one, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a brand new one. I'm talking about WarioWare Get It Together, I'm pretty sure it's called. It's the one that came out on the Switch not too long ago, maybe last year, if I'm not mistaken. But I just didn't really like it, man. It's the one where you use different characters that have different like jump patterns and stuff to traverse the mini games. I just didn't literally like it as much as these ones that just have their own, like, each mini game kind of has like a dynamic like story that it tells within the amount of time that's on the screen. Some of them do, not all of them. I mean, like other ones, you're literally just Wario and you have to press A to land on a pool floaty, and that's it. So there's a pretty big variety of shit that you do in this game, game wise. That I don't know. It's fun. It's charming. Anybody would love it. I really don't know one person that would hate WarioWare, honestly. Like everybody I talk to that knows about it really likes it. So, it's I really like you cannot hate this game. This game doesn't do anything wrong, man. And if you do, you're just a Nintendo hater or you're a Wario hater or it's whatever. You're trying to be cool. You're trying to get attention or whatever. Sure, I get it. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Very long 5 minute and fucking 5 minute intro here. But yeah. Let's just fucking do it and get into it, bros. Let's do it. I haven't really thought about the structure of how this video is going to be. I don't know how I'm going to talk about this, so I'm just going to kind of wing it. Maybe I'll just talk about the cutscene and then maybe just mention a couple of their games that stand out to me that I like. I'm not going to sit here and obviously talk about every single micro game inside the entire game because one, I don't want to hear that. Two, it would take forever. And 5 or 6 or whatever we're on. I just don't think anybody wants to hear that. So, yeah, man, you start the game off, and before you can even do anything, you're hit with a cutscene right off the bat. It's Wario kind of just flipping through his TV. He lands on like a channel that shows that video game sales have skyrocketed. So, he gives his normal Wario shtick where, he wants to make all the money in the world he can. He's greedy, so he wants to get in the video game business, man. He wants to start developing games, and he literally goes out and he buys a laptop, and that's what he does. He works on it for quite a bit, and then he kind of just gets frustrated, it's a lot harder than he imagines it. So he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna call up some of the homies. They're gonna help me make some games. And then that's where WarioWare Inc. is born, man. WarioWare is the name of the company that makes the games, which is kind of cool. I love the, the meta, the meta behind that, like you're playing games that Wario kind of made, which is pretty interesting, man. I don't know. I really like that concept. I like how like this game just doesn't take itself too seriously. You know what I mean? Every other Nintendo IP kind of, is pretty serious for the most part. Zelda always, Metroid always, Mario pretty much for the most part. There's a few goofs in Mario, but when it comes to like the Wario games, like they just don't care, man. They just go all out with just comedy and like it's just really funny. I don't know, man. I really, really enjoy that about these games. Also, I gotta mention really quick, man. These graphics, these pixelated, like, I don't know what you call them graphics, but they just age so well, man. This game literally looks like it could have came out today. It looks so good, man. Like, I don't know why. It really holds up. Like, if you developed this game and I never knew about it and you told me to release today, I literally would believe you just because it literally looks like a game that would come out today, I could see them totally going back to making something that looks exactly like this for another Wario game coming up or something like that. It really just holds up so well and it looks amazing, man. Just thought I'd have to mention that really quick. I don't play games for graphics. I should say because real true gamers know that good graphics don't make a game. Obviously, how fun it is makes it, but you gotta give credit where credit's due, man. They really nailed this shit back in the day, and it really just translates and holds up so well today. Just gotta mention that. So after the first cutscene is done, you can now enter your name of the character, which you end up being a character in Wario's little universe here too. So that's kind of cool. Not like you don't know what you look like, or you kind of just are referenced throughout the game, which is pretty cool. You know me, first thing that comes to mind is what I name the character, so I go with Melvin. Melvin is the first thing I thought of. However, you can't do more than 5 letters, unfortunately, so I had to spell it Melvn and just kind of leave the I out, and I'm hoping that point gets across there. Also, I have my hour of gameplay I'm going to upload to YouTube just to go along with this, man, so you guys have something to watch if you want to. I just love this game, man. It's just something you can throw on in the background and just really just love. Like every fucking mini game is just so good, man. I love them. I almost forgot to mention you also choose your gender after you're done with your name. Yes, you can choose a male or female character, which I know is in 2024 that's a fucking insane controversial thing you could do. But yeah, that's crazy that you could do that. So that's also worth mentioning. So after you're done with the name and profile creation, you get another cutscene, which kind of just explains how you get into Wario's games here. He goes, "You think you can beat my games?" And then somehow he jumps on a trampoline and launches himself into his own radio, and that's where the games take place, man. So let me just kind of explain how the campaign side of the mini games work. In the first Wario level, there's going to be 10 mini games you have to pass to beat it. Typically, there is 15 you have to pass. The number gets a little higher as you go on in the game. I'm pretty sure maybe there's like 30 at most you do at the very end. I don't even know if there's that much. There might be just 20. I can't exactly remember, but we'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, each mini game kind of it starts off kind of slow, and then as you're progressing like a third of the way through, it gets a little faster. It goes like speed up, and then the games get kind of faster, so you have to react faster to what's going on. And then another third of the way through, they get even faster, so then you have to do them even faster and kind of do them. And then it's all the way up until the final mini game, which is the boss mini game, which then slows down to accommodate for the boss fight. So that's pretty much how every minigame works. You go through all of Wario's. Wario only has 10 in the very beginning, so you beat all 10. You do his boss fight, which is basically a sparring ball. You hit this ball with Wario, and it keeps rocking back and forth. You just have to keep hitting it, having good timings to hit this thing, because if you let it hit you, then you knock it out. It knocks you over and you lose. And then, yeah, you just have to keep hitting this thing like 6 consecutive times in a row, I believe it is, and then you just win. So it's pretty easy. And then I'll explain this now too, so I don't have to later. The games are obviously randomly generated. However, there's not just 10 Wario mini games. You can go back and click on characters you've already played through their games as, and then just this kind of unlocks the. You kind of go like you have your 4 lives and then you go forever up until you lose. So you can discover new mini games that they possibly have just by playing the game. I didn't really do this in this playthrough. I kind of just went through the campaign and then just called it quits because I have so much stuff to fucking play in my backlog. Back in the day, I was very inclined to go through and find every mini game just because I wanted to see what they all were. And I still kind of want to do that now. I just, I can't with just how much is in my Steam backlog and how much stuff I have to play. I feel like I really just have to get a move on that stuff. But, if I wasn't crunched for time, I would sit here and try to find them all, man, because each one of them is very, very fun. So I feel like that doesn't really need that much of an explanation, okay? I am who I am. So yeah, that's just something worth talking about real quick. I didn't get to discover all the mini games, but if you want to go do that, I would recommend it, man. It's a good time. It's a real good time, man. So the cutscene you get after this is Wario kind of gets out of the radio. He's really small, though. These 2 little creatures follow him out, and then he goes back in the radio, gets big, flies out, squashes them, and then he's like, oh, nice. Next is Jimmy. And you're like, okay, I don't really know what the point of this cutscene was or how much story it added, but I'm here for it. I'm here for Wario's wacky antics. We all love them. So let me talk about like the central hub of the game. Every character kind of gets added on when you beat somebody, like I mentioned before. But it's kind of like you're like looking through a cell phone at mobile games, right? It's kind of cool. Or maybe it's a laptop. And like every time you beat somebody, like you see the loading bar go all the way up and then it gets added on. Like a new piece of the game just gets added on right there. And I don't know, it's just something cool. I haven't really seen a menu or overworld, I guess I would say in air quotes, like this in any other game that I know of. I'm sure maybe something there is, but I haven't played every single game on Earth, so I wouldn't know. Although that is my mission eventually, although I know it's not going to happen, but we'll do what we can here on Earth given our time, So yeah, we move on to Jimmy now. Jimmy's got a giant blue afro. He's kind of like the sports game connoisseur. makes a bunch of sports related games. All of them are pretty fun. Oh, I forgot to mention my favorite, or should I just mention all my favorites at the end? I don't know. Maybe should I talk about them now or should I talk about them at the end? Maybe I should talk about them as I do them. So yeah, my favorite mini games from Wario. These are pretty basic, but I'll mention a few of them. I love the Crazy Cars one where it's like a hot dog on wheels, or it's like some sort of cheeseburger on wheels, and it just goes across the screen and you have to successfully jump over it. I always like the Hectic Highway ones where you're just on the car and you have to weave in and out of traffic. Those are really fun. I used to love the one where they slide a mug like at a bar to Wario, and you have to press A at just the right time to snatch the mug so you don't miss it. Wario doesn't have too many that I like in particular. I mean, I like them all. There's just none that really stand out. They're all pretty fun. So yeah, moving on to Jimmy. Jimmy's the sports game guy, like I said. Bunch of sports related mini games here. His cutscene is nothing too special. He kind of just goes, he's dancing in his club a little bit. He gets a call on his phone. It zooms in on the phone, and then you're playing the mini games, man. As far as his mini games, I'll just mention a few that I like really quick. I like the snowboard slalom one where you're like a stick figure and you have to navigate around this giant snow pile to get to the end. I like the skateboarding one where you have to jump over the obstacles with the A button. I like the jump rope one where you just have to keep jumping the rope and get the rhythm right. And I also like the basketball one where you have to press A at the peak of this guy's jump to, swish the basketball. I also like the, obviously the putt golf one. It reminds me of like, the Hot Shots golf games. And then ski jump is an honorable mention one. I like the ski jump one where you just press A at the right time to jump the ski. And like I said, that's most of the mini games in this game, guys. They're all just like press A at the right time, move left or right at the right time, and then later you have to get into like correct choice kind of games, which are pretty fun as well. But yeah, then Jimmy's boss fight is the Punch Out. Basically, there's a guy. The first one's pretty easy, but the harder difficulties, there's just more hearts you have to get through. You just have to move out of the way and then box this guy back like 3 or 4 separate times to beat him. And then you beat Jimmy's games, man. And then you get his second half of his cutscene, which it's one of those ones where it leaves me with more questions than answers. So we're trying to figure out who's calling him, right? And then he finishes his dance, he gets off the stage, he goes through a crowd, pulls his phone up. There's a picture of a dog, and it looks pretty happy. And then he closes it, and it says "Smooth Groove," and like that's it. And then you just see his pixelated character walk into like, what is this? And like, it's like an ice cream shop or something. This is kind of like the central hub where all the characters kind of meet after you beat their games. So yeah, you see him walk there. He goes, "You did it. You're moving on to the next 3, man." So instead of just unlocking Jimmy like you do when you beat Wario's games, once you beat Jimmy, you get 3 separate characters you can choose from. Well, 4 total if you count 2 of these guys as one of them. But yeah, there's 3 separate slots that you can go through and do again. You don't have to do them in any specific order. You can do however you see fit. I'm pretty sure I went with Mona, then I went with Dribble and Spit second, then I finished off with 9-volt third, just because I believed that was my favorite order of how to do them when I was young, just because the games got progressively more fun to me that way. But yeah, man, Mona has some pretty fun games. I honestly have no idea how I would describe Mona's games. They're kind of like just mundane chores, like house chores, tasks around the house, or just strange things in general. Like they can really range from anywhere. A couple of my favorite ones were the Gold Digger one, where you got to stick the finger in the nose. I liked the same kind of thing with the eye drops one, where it's like there's like the moving eye drop thing. You got to land in the eye at the right time. Just a bunch of solid, just weird tasks like that. Like there's the one where you got to thread the needle instantly, even moving up and down. The crash test dummy one, bunch of very cool ones. And then her boss fight is the nail. basically there's a hammer and a nail. The hammer is moving left to right. You just have to time your A presses to hit the center of the nail, and you just have to hit it maybe 6 or 7 times, and then you beat it. If you hit your own hand, you lose. Also, if you fuck up the nail too much, you lose as well. So that's Mona's games. Moving on to Dribble and Spits is what I did next. They've got a bunch of interesting games too. They're kind of like sci-fi kind of. Most of them take place in like outer space, or not. They don't all stay on theme. There's always a couple of random ones that get thrown in there, but a couple of my favorites from this guy are the let's see here. I like the ninja one where you have to dodge the arrows as the ninja guy. You see the arrows fly up in the background. You know where to go to stand to not get hit by them, and then you have to go there. I like the super fly one where you're the guy flying through the city and you have to hit left or right and dodge the buildings. That's really it for me on these. I don't really care for too many of these, but they're still pretty good. I like the wheelie one where you have to land the guy on the wheelie on the scooter. Make sure he lands his trick or else he gets all fucked up. And then the boss is like the Galaga minigame, right? You spawn in as like this little triangle ship thing. You shoot out blocks. You keep upgrading your ship. You have to kill a boss at the end, and then that's it. Pretty fun. This is one of the longer ones. Not terribly long though. Like I said earlier, these are only a couple minutes at most. Okay, so at most, that's it. Then we move on to 9-Volt, and I love 9-Volt because all of his fucking games are just so nostalgic, man. He is the Nintendo's classics guy. He's like the video game guy in the game. So all of his challenges or games or whatever, they're all like Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda. Like there's some F-Zero ones. There's Mario Bros. There's Ice Climbers. There's Dr. Mario. There's Metroid games. There's like the Wild Gunman games. There's just so many like classic Nintendo games that they turned into micro games, which are very cool. Just to name a couple of my favorite ones. I mean, obviously, we love the Duck Hunt one. I love Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt was such a classic growing up, man. I love the Donkey Kong Jump one. I love the F-Zero one where you got to avoid the cars. I like the Laser Outlaw one where you have to hit the outlaw guy in the chest with a gun. I like the Zelda one where you have to like enter the dungeon, like from 1987, like the original one, like so classic, man. I like the Metroid one where you spam A and kill the mother brain or whatever it is. I haven't played the original Metroid, so I don't really know what they call that final boss. But yeah, man, there's like Dr. Mario, like I said, which is very fun. And then the boss fight is the batter up not laser game, but it's like the batting rack one where you have to hit 5 in a row. Not in a row. You have to hit 5 or 6 total baseballs out of this machine that flings them at you. You just got to hit A at the right time. Sometimes they throw them faster. Sometimes they throw them slower. But that's 9-Volt, man. I know I'm kind of skipping the cutscenes. I'm not really going to talk about the cutscenes at all. I feel like it's kind of a waste of time. Also, most of the charm of this game comes from the cutscenes. Like, you guys should really experience them for yourselves. And like I said earlier, I am going to upload my playthrough of this on YouTube, so it will be there if you want to watch it. But yeah, I just don't, describing them as I'm watching, I just don't know. I don't think it makes for good radio, so we're going to skip the cutscenes and kind of just fly through this. I don't want this video to be super long, like I said. It's not a very long game. It's not a very intricate game. And that's what we're going to do, okay? So moving on from Dribble and Spritz, after 9-Volt is Jimmy with yellow hair this time. For some reason, Jimmy has yellow hair, and his game, or his level is just kind of a compilation of everything you've been playing, right? That's all it really is. It's nothing too special, so not going to name any more games from here, obviously, because there is no extra ones. There is the Punch-Out game that there was from his boss fight as well. It makes a return in this. So then he goes to 20 levels, I believe. So you have to play a little more mini games in that one than you normally do. And then you move on to the next 3 you unlock, which is Dr. Krygor. He's like he's like a robot scientist kind of guy. There's Orbulon. He's a gray alien. And then there's Kat and Anna, which are like these ninja girls. which their games are awesome too. So I started with Krygor first. You can choose any three or anyone that you want to start with, but I just kind of choose what my instinct was, man, and I kind of just go from the same path I always go. So I start with the middle guy first, which is Krygor. He has an interesting set of mini games too. I don't really know how to describe them. I guess I would say that they're kind of games that are based around life in general. There's some that have like animals. There's like the sleeping cat one. There's like the fruit one where you have to munch a banana or an apple or something. There's like the whack-a-mole game where you have to hit those little yellow guys. I don't really. There's the beef one where you have to cut like the piece of beef. You have to hit left and right very fast. That's one of my favorites. The assembly line one with the car, you got to drop the car onto the wheels. I really like that one. The cat nap one, like I said, you have to just press A when the cat's eyes are completely closed to get it to go to sleep, which is very funny. You have to drop the strawberry on the cheesecake or whatever it is. I don't know. I just love these mini games. And then his boss one is actually pretty interesting too. It's like this little space game. It's called Alien Laser Hero. You play as this alien laser hero guy, which is like it sounds. He shoots laser beams out of his eyes. This thing comes onto the screen and starts dropping obstacles onto the earth. You have to use your laser eyes and just basically use up and down on the D-pad to point them and kill the obstacles and then kill the pot that is dropping them. And then you basically beat it. It's not too complicated at all. Probably one of the easier ones, to be honest, but that doesn't take away from the fact that I had fun playing it. So right from Krygor, I moved on to Orbulon, right? That's pretty much how you pronounce it, right? His micro games are pretty good. They're kind of like RPG style, like thought based style, kind of like IQ based. There's like puzzles. There's different like find this cat or it's go in this crevice. I don't know how to explain it. There's like the decoy Game Boy Advance one, like where you have to spot the decoy Game Boy Advance, which is pretty cool. There's like the number counting game, the frog lily pad one, where you have to count the amount of frogs that cross this lily pad with a little ticker and get the number right. There's the matching boxes where you match the little shapes together. What else do I like here? The maze with the noodle cup, right, where you squeeze whatever liquid it is at the top, and you have to kind of guess the right direction that it's going to go to get to the bottom. I don't know. I like that one. And then his boss fight was probably just my least favorite out of them all, just because, I don't know, it's not that engaging. All it is it's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons like little scenario thing where you have to choose different answers, but the only thing that matters is the spelling. Like it'll be like attack or it'll spell attack again wrong, and you just have to choose the one that's spelled right up until the very end, and then you just choose success. After like you have to time the landing of the word success, and then you beat it. It's just not that interesting. It's not that hard. Definitely not one of my favorites. So moving on to Kat and Anna's games, these are some of my favorites as well. They're probably my second favorite set of games, right after 9 volts, just because you can't beat those fucking Nintendo classics, man. You really can't. But yeah, that's there's kind of is based on like nature, I would guess. Like there's a lot of animal ones. There's like the flying squirrel one comes to mind, where you have to photograph the flying squirrel as it flies across the screen. There's the one where you have to capture the fish as the crane. You hit A at the right time and go and grab the fish. That one's really fun. I like the one with the 2 birds and the big rocks, where you have to hit A at the right time to send your bird through this little wooden thing to get to the other bird. There's the claw machine one, which is fun. There's the one with the what's it called? The little gecko thing that changes colors and you have to eat the hearts. That's another one I like. And that's pretty much it, man. Not too many of them in this one, but they're all just like very aesthetically pleasing to look at, And then the boss fight for this one is it's called the frog flap apparently, and it's the one where you're playing as like the little bird thing on top of the clouds, and it's kind of like Doodle Jump, but except of going up, you go sideways. So you want to make your way all the way to the right side of the screen. Every time you hit a cloud, you get like a boosted jump, which is pretty fun. Very solid set of mini games here, man. And that is Cat and Anna. They also have probably the coolest cutscenes because they kind of defeat like this demon thing. That's pretty interesting. It actually does come back in the second game. Or not the second game, but the next one, I believe. I can't actually remember, though. Right after Cat and Anna, you get another Jimmy one where he now has red hair this time. And it's just another compilation of everything you've been playing through already. So all of the games that you've played before are kind of just thrown. It's not all of them. It's like 20 of them. And then the same boss fight you've been doing with Jimmy where it's the knockout. It's a cool way to kind of compile everything into one game. But, it's a little lazy in my opinion. Although this is the first WarioWare game. So I'm not going to complain too much. This kind of laid the ground for them to innovate in the future and stuff. Although, I mean, how much can you innovate on a game like this? You know what I mean? All the innovations are the games themselves, in my opinion. But, however, that doesn't take away from any of the fun, man. I just love this goddamn game so much. But yeah, after you're done with Jimmy, there is now only one more person to clear. And it's Wario again. Of course it's Wario again. So Wario's games aren't much different from his original games. They're pretty much the same ones with the occasional new ones sprinkled in, except the only thing is they're harder and they go for longer. The last Wario character is 25, I believe you have to last, with the boss at the end. And then the boss in this one, it's definitely the longest in the game, although it's still not terribly long. You're basically just a really pixelated version of Wario. You have to get through this little labyrinth, defeat this block thing, jetpack up, and then escape with this little treasure thing. And it's not that hard. It's mostly just dodging stuff and mashing A. That's really it, man. And then congratulations, you have now completed WarioWare for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. So basically the final, I'll just say the final cutscene real quick. Wario, it's the newscast guy. He's like, will this Wario game really sell? And then it cuts to Wario with a fat stack of cash falling onto him. And then he takes the money and just tries to fucking leave with it in his rocket, bro. He has a rocket next to his base somehow, for some reason. I have no idea why. And he takes all the cash from his friends and just tries to just make off with it, that piece of shit. What is he doing? We all worked so hard on this goddamn game together, man. And then what happens is Dr. Krygor's for some reason flying in the sky too. He collides with the rocket breaks, and then it falls into the ocean. And that is all said and done for WarioWare, man. That is the final thing you see. And then it does kind of roll credits with everybody's name that worked on the game. Not like the actual people in the real world, but just all the people in the game that helped you out, which is really cool. And then it says the name you chose at the end as well as somebody that helped, which I thought is just very cool. And then it spawns like an extra credit saying you can actually go and click on and watch to see all of the actual creators of the game. So that's really all there is to talk about with this game. There really isn't all that much more I can cover. There's a couple like 2-player games, like there's the paper plane one, and there's a couple others that I can't remember, but I have played them before, like not recently, but way back in the day. They're fun, they're great, but it's like if you're gonna play a game to play it multiplayer, like there's millions of other games you can play. You know what I mean? So it's just not very long-lasting fun-wise, I will say. But yeah, that's it, man. That's going to do it for WarioWare for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. I really don't know what else to talk about. I think that's going to pretty much do it, guys. Sorry I missed last week. I had some stuff going on I don't want to get into, but we're hoping to get this one out. I might make another one this weekend to make up for it, but I'm not sure. It's going to be the Fallout video. I'm still kind of working on the Fallout 4. Just trying to make sure it's okay, even though they're all shit at the end of the day. I'm just kind of doing what I want to hear. Maybe that's bad. Maybe that's good. I don't know, man. Still trying to dial it in how I want to do these episodes, how I want to make them. everything I want to cover in them, the best way to tell them, so it sounds interesting. I'm still trying to figure this out. I'm still using Microsoft Paint to make my goddamn thumbnails, for Christ's sake. So, it's a work in progress, man. Still trying to get used to this shit. So here's to episode, 13, I believe it is. Last one was Midnight Club 2. So this one should be episode 13, if I'm not mistaken. So that's it, guys. I'll just mention what I'm playing really quick. Still playing a lot of Overwatch. They just did release the Transformers collab, which is pretty cool. Looking forward to the new hero coming soon, hopefully. It'll be cool to check that out. I'm playing a little bit of X Defiant, and not really too much. I tried Ranked. Ranked is so annoying because they don't have any like hero limits or anything, so it's basically just 4 barrier phantoms on each enemy team every fucking game, so it's kind of annoying. New guns are kind of cool though, so that's interesting. And then that's really it. I've been playing Skyrim too, just because playing through Fallout really put me in the mood for another Bethesda RPG game. So the single player game of choice right now is Skyrim, man. I didn't give it the time of day when it first came out. Didn't really care for Elder Scrolls games at all. I played a little bit of Oblivion, not too much though. Played a little bit of Skyrim way back when it came out, but just didn't really get into it. But now I'm finding myself enjoying it, finding myself enjoying it. So that's it. That's all I'm really going to cover here. Look forward to an episode. Maybe I'm not going to guarantee it and say it'll come out. It probably won't, to be honest. I'm still working on it. So yeah, we're back on track here. Sorry I missed a week. We'll get back to it here. We're going to get back on the old grindstone here. Okay. So thanks for listening. Take care. Jerry Yap out. Goodbye.